Well, hey, howdy, hi. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by to join me today. I really do appreciate it. My name is Ellie, and I'm a witch. And this over here is my teaching assistant, Andy. And today is Tuesday, and on my channel that means it is tea time and true crime. And today's true crime topic is the Bloody Benders. Now, this is another murder case. I am back at it with that kind of true crime case this week. So if you're not interested in that, definitely click out of this video. I have non-murder related true crime on my channel already out. But if you are not interested in true crime at all, I do have two other series on my channel. On Sundays, I talk about cryptids, and on Monday, I talk about history. This week, for my Cryptid Countdown episode, I talked about the cryptids of Maine, and for my Misheard History video, I talked about Ivan VI. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into talking about this case. So for this, our story actually goes all the way back to 1870 when a family of four moved to Kansas, not far from Cherrydale. Now the family consisted of the parents John and Kate Bender and adult children, also John and Kate Bender. So for the sake of clarity, I will refer to the parents as John and Kate Sr. and the children as John and Kate Jr. There is some dispute about the family's dynamic. It's believed that John and Kate Sr. were married, and that John was one of many husbands that Kate had had over her lifetime, which was not uncommon at the time. As for the Juniors, it is not clear if they were siblings or not. It was commonly thought that they were siblings, but they also apparently had non-sibling intimacy, so it was also possible that they were married to some degree. They could have just posed as siblings since they had no children. It raised less questions at the time to be incest siblings than it did to be married or together without children. So the family of four opened an inn and a grocery store in order to cater to travelers passing through. One day, though, they just disappeared. It wasn't too strange, as there had been a string of disappearances in the area and people thought they were just victims of that. However, this story is darker than that. When the investigators went to the Bender property, they found the remains of 11 different people buried in the garden. The remains revealed that all 11 people had their skulls smashed and throats slit. The missing family was assumed to be the assailants in this case. So using the scene of the crime, investigators think that they pieced together what the family did. It's assumed that one of the younger Benders would hide behind a curtain, and when the traveler passed by, they would be hit in the back of the head with a hammer. The victim was then dropped through a trapdoor into the cellar where another family member was waiting to slash their throats. They would then pillage the bodies of any valuables, and then they would wait until nightfall to bury the bodies on their property. The disappearances were not initially noted, as it was common for people passing through the rough frontier to just disappear. It wasn't until George Lochner and his daughter went missing that people started to take notice. The first investigation didn't begin until a local doctor, William York, went missing, though. His brother traced his movements back to the Bender Inn, and he spoke to the family, who admitted that William was there, but did not stay for long, and that was all they knew about it. It was in the spring of 1873 that people started to notice something strange at the Bender Inn. The property was seemingly abandoned, and their livestock were starving or dead. People began searching the property. They found the bloody cellar and all of the bodies. Dr. York's brother was able to identify his body, and George Lochner and his daughter were found together in one grave. Their bodies were never found, but what caused them to abandon their home is unclear. Now, some believe that they were caught and taken care of by vigilantes, but this is not confirmed, nor is it likely to be. There were only 11 remains found, but the estimates are that several dozen people were killed, though no thorough scan was done of the land, so there could be many bodies, including that of the family that we just haven't found. Now, there wasn't much known about the seniors. They were introverted and chose not to interact much. The juniors, on the other hand, were a little more outgoing. Seemingly, Kate Jr. wanted to live a very luxurious lifestyle, but she wasn't born to money, nor was she willing to work to get what she wanted. Therefore, she turned to crime as an easy way to make some money. John Jr. seemed to be a follower, someone that was under Kate's control. However, once people got to know him, he seemed much more like a con artist than first assumed. This life of crime was clearly the motive with owning the inn. They could easily lure people in and avoid suspicion by blaming any crime on bandits or native peoples. Though it is believed that the first kill was unintentional and that the goal was actually to stick to robbing, something went wrong and they just figured getting rid of the victim entirely was the best solution. Though the family did not get much in the way of money, as most people weren't braving the dangers of the frontier with much of value on their persons. This led to the speculation that the family began doing it for the thrill of it instead. As for who actually did the killing will remain unknown, but it is assumed that both Johns were the ones to physically carry out the act. It was assumed that it was Kate Jr. who did the killing, as she seemed to be more violent. However, it is rare for women to use the same killing method and have it be such a physical act. So now most people assume it was the men in the family who carried out the murders themselves. Now, as I said earlier, the family disappeared out of nowhere, but they were able to be accounted for about a year and a half. Some people who had traveled with them said they knew where they were after 18 months, but nothing was verified. The government had been tracking them for some time, but once the state started to run out of funds, they reached out to the military in Texas. But they had their hands full with the Indian War and didn't have much help to offer. It also helped that there was plenty of corruption in the local authorities, so the family got a heads up anytime someone was coming to town looking for them. It was also believed for a time that both Kates were caught, but this was not true. Instead, the women that were almost sent to trial for these murders were Almira Monroe and Sarah Davis. The reason that they were suspected and almost sent to trial was that the sheriff did not have any pictures of the Kates and therefore could not say that these two women weren't them. Lucky for the women, they had adequate representation, and it was proven that one woman was in prison at the time of the murders, and the other had miscarried and was in hospital around that same time. As for the true history of the family, there is a lot of speculation, and there is many stories being told. Some sources at the time were misidentifying victims or mixing up their names, so there were many reported victims, around 25 that I could find. Then there is the case of the family themselves. I said the family was made up of 2 Johns and 2 Kates, but that could be incorrect. In one article I read that the family was made up of 2 Johns, 1 Kate, and the mother was named Altamira. Another article said that the father was John Flickinger and the mother was Almira Mike. Kate's surname was Griffith and the younger man was John Gebhardt. But a newspaper article at the time called both men John Bender, and the younger woman was Kate Bender, and the older woman was Mrs. Bender, so there's plenty of inconsistencies from the start of the story. Though regardless of what they were called or how they were related, this family murdered at least 11 people, including a child of about 8 years old, and that is what is important in this story. And that is all that I have for you today. Kind of a little bit of a shorter one. I like the older story though. I thought that was interesting that I found one that was in the 1800s. But with that, it means that there's a lot less information that we have and a lot of different things that get changed over time. Like, we don't truly know their names, and that's a little bit irritating, but we do the best we can. It was still very interesting and really sad. So yeah, if you liked the video, if you want to hit that thumbs up button, I would really appreciate it. If you know anything that I missed in this story, you have any other sources that have better information or more consistencies, please let me know, because this was a pain in the butt to research because there was just so little known, and a lot of different sources, they jump back and forth between so many different time periods, so it was kind of hard to totally piece together the story. So if you know anything more, please let me know. And if you'd like to see more of us, you can check out Andy's Instagram, or you can hit that subscribe button. We would appreciate that as well. But yeah, I don't really have much else for you guys. It was a short video, super fun to research. Next week I will be talking about Jeannie the Feral Child, which I didn't really know if I want to put that as true crime or history, but given that it's a case heavy with child abuse, I'm gonna go more with it is a true crime case. So that is what I'll be talking about next week. I'm also going to be well, not this weekend, tomorrow, because today is Friday actually for me, Tuesday for you guys, hi, in the future. But tomorrow I'm actually going to go to Cripple Creek, Colorado, and I'm going to film a couple of different videos. I'm going to be talking about the cryptids of Colorado, and I will be talking about the history of Cripple Creek in Cripple Creek. So yeah, if you're interested in that, that's what's going on next week. Yeah, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next week. Bye!